Israel has announced a temporary new route via Salah Al-Din Street to allow residents to flee Gaza City, following the launch of an intense ground offensive and massive bombardments of the city's main areas. According to spokesperson Avinche Adre, the temporary route will remain open for 48 hours only. This comes after Israeli military spokesperson Efi Defrin confirmed that the ground offensive in Gaza City has begun, with additional troops expected to join soon. Defrin has stated that the objectives of the operation are to return of hostages and the defeat of Hamas, adding that the operation will continue until these goals are achieved. Meanwhile, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has commented on Israel's actions, noting that Israel appears determined to carry out its military campaign up to the end. He also emphasized that Israel is not currently open to serious peace negotiations and warned that this position could lead to significant consequences from Israel's perspective. Dr. Punsara Amarasinghe Kotwala, Defence University, joins us from Sri Lanka. Thank you so much for joining us. Speaking to us on NewsX World, I'd like to understand from you, Israel has announced a 48-hour transit route out of Gaza City. But given Israel's latest strikes in the Gaza City, how long will this mass displacement continue? And are we perhaps looking at a protracted war?
Yeah, I think now the international community simply sits between devil and the deep blue sea, because from one side, UN and legal experts like Navneet Pillay and all these legal fraternity keeps commenting that Israel is responsible for blatant violation of international humanitarian law, as the level of the human suffering has come to an unprecedented level. But they're providing this route, temporary route for 48 hours, simply emulates Israel's willingness to accept the basic norms in international humanitarian law, as it clearly stands compatible with the Article 51 in the Geneva First Protocol that simply announces the providing fullest protection for the civilians in the times of the military operation going on. But from a practical point of view, we need to understand to which extent it can be applicable for the remaining the civilians, which is approximately 500,000 civilians stuck within the last stronghold of Hamas inside the city of Gaza. The IDF has clearly made its statement saying that more than 350,000 civilians have already been evacuated. They have fled Gaza. But still, there's 500,000 civilians have been stuck inside Gaza. Now, it's going to be a kind of a huge problem for Israelis, because the entire international fraternity, international world stands against them. You can clearly see that there has been accusation indicating the fact that Israel is responsible for the violation of the Genocide Convention of 1948. But at the same time, Netanyahu's government is completely adamant to carry out its military offensive in Gaza by intensifying all the ventures until they free the hostages, until they crush Hamas from the face of earth.
Right, absolutely. Israel, of course, making it abundantly clear that this is something that is going to continue. They want their motive, their agenda to be fulfilled. How are you viewing essentially Israel's point of view at this point in time?
I've been to Gaza. I was in a state visit to Israel a couple of weeks ago, and I quite clearly saw from my own eyes the Israeli government handles the food distribution to Gaza, at least to a certain extent. But the food has been looted by the Hamas, the militants stuck inside Gaza. At the same time, if you look at the public opinion within Tel Aviv, within Jerusalem, or elsewhere in Israel, which clearly affirms that they somehow need to bring back their hostages. So Netanyahu has been internally and externally pressurized. So from military point of view, they already have finished the entire infrastructure system of Gaza, of Hamas. And they have targeted the key members of Hamas. And the Qatari attack 2 weeks ago was completely shocking and detrimental in the long run. So now all they need is to finish the last remaining stronghold of Gaza which will be the symbolic end of Hamas. At the same time, from Israelis' point of view, they somehow need to stop Hamas from their every advantage, from their ability to executing terror as they committed on the 7th of October 2 years ago. So that is a kind of a strategic maneuver from Israeli side.
Right, absolutely. With that, I'd like to thank you for joining us on NewsX World, sharing your perspectives. Meanwhile, we have some more news coming our way.